What I was doing last night, I couldn't sleep. I was, online on my phone, like you are right now. And I had watched a sparring session that was just done here recently in the last week or so.
Dillashaw?
No, Conor. And Conor looked like a good boxer. He looked like a good boxer, but he didn't look like the best boxer in the world. And then right underneath that link or that YouTube video was a video of the gentleman Chris Van Herden, who's a former 147-pound boxing world champ from South Africa that Conor sparred with last year. And he did an interview about the sparring, and he was like, "Hey, I hadn't trained in a month, but I saw that I was getting a chance to put my skill set up against Conor's skill set," and it's what we all think about. We think, of course, the boxer is supposed to be a better stand-up boxer than the MMA guy, and he went 6 rounds with Conor, and he said Conor's a good boxer. He said he is a good boxer. This was in May of last year. But he also said he's not going to beat Floyd. He's not going to beat any of the top 10 guys in the sport. That's ridiculous, and that goes to your point of how ridiculous that is.
Yeah, and our overwhelming point is, so what? We want to see the contest. If these two guys want to go out and compete, we want to see it. So give us what we want. To act like Conor shouldn't be given the opportunity, if it's what the fans want and both fighters want to do it, sure he should. To act as though Conor should be given a chance to win that fight is an embarrassment to boxing. That is people saying we don't respect boxing. Because if you're bringing in a guy who's never done this professionally against a guy who's never lost professionally, and you think the guy that's never done it can win, it means you don't respect our sport. So, yes, the proof's in the pudding. He got in the ring, he did some sparring, but that was May of last year. Let him grow. Let him get better. Let him work on some stuff. Let Floyd get a little bit older and hopefully slow down, though there's no signs of that happening. But allow those talking points to come in and allow people to hedge their bets and make plans for their party and buy the pay-per-view. I don't think that anybody should attempt to discredit Conor by the outcome of this match. He should not win. It's a sport that he does not do. And if he's willing to go out and compete, he gets courage points from everybody, right? He gets a pat on the back for everybody, and that's where it ends, regardless of the outcome here, which better be fast and devastating and against him for the sake of the integrity of boxing. Floyd, on the other hand, has a lot of pressure. Floyd needs to go out and put him away in one round. It better be in 30 seconds. But if Conor even makes it out of the first round, Conor wins. Absolutely. And people cannot get lost on this. This is not Conor's sport. This is not what Conor does. This is what Floyd does. This is Floyd's sport. He needs to put him away. This is the best in one sport versus a guy who's never done it. That's your average Joe good athlete taking on LeBron and beating him, taking on McEnroe, taking on Tiger Woods and beating them in their sport, going out and racing against Dale Earnhardt Jr. when the guy's never raced a car before. It's ridiculous, and Earnhardt had better win. And nobody in those other contests that I just laid out would give a guy a chance. But people are giving Conor a chance against Floyd. And that is a complete it is showing what people think of boxing. They think that it's a fringe, fake, discredited sport. And that is the bigger story here.
I tell you what, I agree 100% with you that Conor should lose that fight. At every point you have there, I'll be rooting for him.
I'll be rooting for him too.
I'll be rooting for him. I'll pay whatever they pay, whatever they charge. I'll pay, and I'll be rooting for him.
Yeah. I'll contribute my money to that purse. I'll do everything I can. We'll talk about it on the show. We'll build that up as much as we can. But I'm going to lay the groundwork now. This isn't MMA versus boxing, and now we settle the score on which one is better. It's none of those things. It's a contest that two guys want to go into. Conor is in a no-lose situation. As many people that are going to try to smear this in his face when it's done, they're just wrong. He should lose. He should not be willing to do it. He should not even have the courage to go and try, but he does. It's a win for Conor.
I agree with that. Hey, let me go back to something. Did we ever weigh in? I know you and I talked about this prior. Did we ever talk on the air about the Christy Mack War Machine trial that came to a head? I feel like we did.
We did.
What did we say about that? Did we just report that the War Machine came in second on that and went down on 29 of the, what, they have 36 charges against him, or roughly, and he went down on 29 of them. Sentencing hasn't come in. Is that all we told the fans?
Pretty much. I mean, we both agreed his defense sucked, but he didn't have a defense.
Yeah, he didn't have a defense. He did not have a defense because he did not say, I am falsely accused, I didn't do this. And that was the only thing. Hey, man, if you're falsely accused here, you need to let us know. That's what this trial's about. If you did not do it. But he was kind of saying, well, I did do it, but, I want to be forgiven for it. But he didn't even go. I was really unclear on his defense, and he didn't take the stand. It's like, War Machine, the only guy here that thinks you should walk is you. You need to come out and tell us why. You need to tell us what we're missing, because the reports aren't good. The eyewitness testimony is not good.
The pictures are not good.
The 911 calls aren't good. It's very clear that she was beaten. But if you're saying you didn't do it, and that's the only thing that gets you to walk. If I'm on the jury, that's the only thing that gets you to walk. I know she was beaten. But if you're saying it wasn't by you, I need to hear that. He never said those things. So when he turns down a plea deal and goes to trial, but then doesn't come out and say, hey, I'm falsely accused and I'm being set up, or somebody else did this, or mistaken identity, or whatever he could have gone to, he didn't do any of those things. Like War Machine, I can't make a case for you. If you're not going to make a case for yourself, I sure as hell can't do it, because I wasn't there. Two people were there, you and her. She's the only one we've heard from. She says it was you. Now you need to go on and say if it wasn't, if it was not you, but you didn't do that, which leads us to believe it was. There just wasn't much you could do, which made me think, why in the hell did you stand trial?
Yeah, why don't
I
you
still don't know the answer
why don't
to
you
that.
take the plea? I'm not.
Because when you're wrong, it's important to say you're wrong. Hey, man, I should not have done that. I need to be punished. I was wrong. There's somewhere we can go with that. Now, we're not going to see him for 40 years, but there's somewhere we can go with a guy that owns something. Saying I'm not guilty, but then not saying, that it wasn't me. Hey, mistaken identity, or whatever it could have been, right? I'm grasping at straws here, but that's what the whole defense would have been. I was just confused. Or weren't you confused by the defense? It's like, hey, did you guys never sit him down in the back and go, War Machine, you're pleading not guilty, but you are guilty. You did do this. For reasons unknown, they're offering us a deal to skirt this through the system and not make them go through the process. Let's take the deal. Don't you owe that to him as a defense attorney? And perhaps that conversation was had. But if it wasn't, boy, it should have been, right?
I mentioned this before. I said one thing that did happen during the defense's final argument is the defense stood up and said, hey, we did 9 of these. We're guilty on 9 of these, but the rest of them should go out. And then the defense attorney came back to the defense table where War Machine was, and they started arguing. The defense and War Machine started arguing back and forth. And they said, well, no, we're guilty on 8, but the 9th one was assault on the other guy, the guy that was there. And War Machine said, no, that was self-defense. I don't want to talk about it. I'm disgusted by it. I couldn't imagine beating a man like that, let alone a woman.
Well, you can talk about it now because justice prevailed. It's over. I mean, justice was done here. He failed. The defense, whatever charade he tried to put up, didn't work. So
well, you're saying it wasn't much of a charade.
I'm just saying I was really confused by the whole thing. I was confused from Jump Street what his defense was going to be, unless he was going to claim, hey, I wasn't even there. And that's the only, and he'd have to prove that. He'd have to have an alibi and prove he wasn't there. That was the only, there was going to be no justification. And I was irritated, Joel. I was irritated, and I still am, that he thought he could do that and not be punished. Not get away with it. Not be caught. He was admitting I'm caught. I did it, essentially. I mean, essentially, by not denying it, you're saying he did. But then he thought he shouldn't be punished. I'm going, hey, we've got some real psychological issues here. We have some real psychological issues if you're not able to look at that and say that behavior was wrong.
Yeah, let's get off the dirt road and get back on the road here. Did you see the UFC announced? What's that?
Go ahead.
What's that? What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Just go ahead.
You go ahead.
Go ahead. You're the one that steered us off it. I was on a
who
topic.
wants it to
Go ahead.
Okay, make that topic make sense to anybody on the planet.
What are you saying? That's what's irritating about it. Is I'm doing a shoot on what happened, reporting it, and you're trying to get me off it as though somehow I'm on the wrong side of this. I'm not on the wrong side of this. I'm not on War Machine's side.
No, I'm not saying you're.
Okay,
I'm just saying I don't want to talk about it.
Why? What is making you uncomfortable about it?
I don't
This
know.
is a case that happened.
Professional
It's
fighter
relevant
put
to
the wood
MMA.
to a 115-pound
Great.
girl.
And justice was served. What part of this topic has you uncomfortable? Are you not happy justice was served? Is that the message you want to get? Well, what are you doing getting me off it?
Okay, stay on it.
Well, I want to know why you wanted to get off of it.
I don't think it's a topic we talk on this show. Truthfully.
What do you want to talk about then? If you're going to bridge a gap to get somewhere else, what?
That's what I just tried to get there, and then you were like, meow, meow.
Well, you're
Did
buying
you feel
time. What?
yourself go meow, meow?